So, new feature for Games Defined. This is going to be INT, and this is a space indie game. It's currently in progress, there's no playable footage so far. Although, I'm going to take a different slant and go for asking questions to the indie team. They weren't available to actually record, but I'm going to do the interview as a kind of roleplay situation to myself and tell you who's talking with pictures and me telling as well. So I hope that's been okay. I hope it's going to be an interesting feature. Let me know what you guys think. So there's a bit of a new adventure on Games Defined today as we're opening the first indie interview. In this new feature we'll be featuring the brightest of indie developers, talking to them to see what makes them tick to make a very unique feature. We've asked INT, the team behind INT, to have an interview with us, and they've given text-based responses which I'll read out. They can be found at www.int/game.net, and it's one of them forward slashes. I'll put it onto the screen. So big thank you for having the time to speak with us over the word-based document. Let's begin. So what was the inspiration for the game? And Justin, who's the project leader, has said, first, thank you for the opportunity to participate in a new featured interview segment. He teaches a technology course, and one of the biggest inspirations for him when getting started was the desire to translate the game design segment of my course to indie game development. That led me to form a team working to create a GDD, codified universe, factions, story elements, etc. My secondary inspiration came from the love of rich sci-fi universes such as Firefly, Star Wars, and sci-fi games such as StarCraft and Knights of the Old Republic 1/2. So, I noticed that the factions for the game was based on planets versus Earths. What was the inspiration behind the story of the game? And Justin, the project leader again, has said the story of the game drew inspiration from his study and fascination with world history. There are many examples throughout history of nations and empires fighting themselves over ideas. One example would be the Roman civil wars, another would be the French Revolution or Russian Revolution, and of course American Civil War. One side of theme, civil war, that translated into the driving backstory of the universe, i.e. the interstellar Civil War. The war that is being fought in INT is between the United Colonies of Earth, based in the Solar System, Earth System, and the Atlas Confederacy of Planets, which is a group of middle colonies who want to form their own government. I would encourage any of your readers to check out the story page for more information, and that can be found at the address on screen. Right, so to everyone on the team, as we hope to inspire new students to the gaming industry and help them on the channel in your areas of programming, art, writing and sound, what inspired you to become a professional in the sector, and what advice would you give to new students and new people wanting to learn the profession? And Justin again, the project leader, said that his advice is to latch on to an idea and seize any opportunity you can. I come from the public sector teaching technology, but my teaching has allowed me to learn and study game design for nearly 3 years before taking an idea to the internet and remotely forming an international team to make it happen. The internet has given us all a wealth of new opportunities and means to form partnerships, collaborations and communicate with people near and far. BC, who's the writing lead, has said write every day. The most important thing I have learned is when writing at a professional level, you need to hone your skills. This can not only improve your writing mechanics, but can also give you new and great ideas to present to your peers. Monty, who's in the dev team, has said learn everything you can, but find out early what you're naturally good at. For me, this is hard surface modelling. However, I still try and learn parts of all the processes of modelling and texturing. I play around with sculpting and use all the parts in little ways to make my models as good as I can within a reasonable time frame. I know I'm not the best modeller, I have very little traditional art talent, but find programs or tricks to help me overcome these things. I learn so much more from the things I'm not particularly good at that help me become even better. John, who's the HR lead, which is Human Resources, has said making a game is very much like making a carpentry piece or an art project to me. You may follow a structured process from planning to crafting, but not even the sky's the limit when it comes to the imaginary wonders one can put into interactive experiences. Various software suites and programming knowledge may sound daunting at first, but they're very there to help you, so go ahead and start crafting. Heath, who is the sound lead, has said, if you have a passion for something, pursue it to the ends of the earth. If you can see yourself growing old doing something you love doing enough, you'll make time for it. It's a competitive world, especially now, so stand out. So, what's the most exciting feature about the game in their opinions? A most exciting feature that will be shown and explained to the larger gaming community soon is what we call randomized companions. This feature stems from early roguelike games and the desire to have unique and different play for each time you experience a game. Our feature will allow you to meet companions as you play through the game, and these companions in turn will unlock story choices for you that would be available without them. Through them you can experience new levels of story. These are random, so they won't be present each time you play through the game, but perhaps you unlock one random companion and find a new way to beat a story quest. However, in doing so, you run into a companion you have been previous playthrough, except this time they're hostile to you. So it sounds like the game is completely random, and there's new companions as you play through it, so it gets kind of like a new kind of storyline as you go through it. That's just my opinion on that bit. So that's quite nice as a unique selling point. What would you say is the most unique feature of the game in progress? Justin has said, I believe our most unique feature is the randomized companion feature, because it allows you to play the game differently each time and unlocks varying possibilities. You never know if you'll encounter a companion from another save that wants to murder you or help you. To sort of expand on what Justin is talking about here, we want our companions to not only be a stat like you see in so many other games with a large pool of companions. We want these randomized companions to bring the universe to life in different ways. We want them to feel as real as well as engaging. How important is exploration in the game, and will there be rewards for players who explore beyond the main objectives? Exploration is very important to us and we encourage it. One of our features is the DSR, Data Storage and Retriever. It is akin to a codex in similar RPGs. However, our feature not only records and store items you find in the codex, but also has a secondary feature. We call it the live stream. This will allow your DSR to tap into the planetary and universal news networks. As you experience the game, you may want to check your DSR to see if there's any breaking events in the world around you. If there are, you may want to journey to that location for a chance to explore and get rare items. Also, our randomized companion feature allows for companions to randomly spawn throughout the level, so you never know where they may pop up. This encourages exploration. The writing lead has said, BC, has said, our focus is also centered around pushing the player to explore the universe we've built, and we've crafted pieces meant to not only expand the player's knowledge of the universe, but also present story-changing experience. For example, let's say the player finds a dead agent for one of the factions in a rubble of a war-torn city. On this agent, the player finds classified documents that would be invaluable to either side. The choice here is simple: which side do you give the documents to? Will you give them to freely or try to sell them? These documents could help either side win the battle that you're trying to escape from, and may just lead to something that will change the player's perception of the story. These are the kind of things that we're including to encourage the player to explore the universe we've meticulously created. What kind of tone is the narrative of the script? What kind of tone is the narrative of the script? When writing the script, was there any major changes through the development progress so far? What kind of themes does the story display, and what would you like it to convey? And BC, the writing lead, who asked the question to, has said, one of the things that has drawn all the writing staff to this project, and video games in general, is the fact that you aren't stuck to a single defining tone. As silly as it sounds, when writing some expansive RPG, you let the player set and sift the tone of the story to their playstyle and the choices they make throughout the story. As for major changes, we have certainly had our fair share, and while they're quite the hurdle, they're never quite insurmountable, and we often come back with a... One of the things that have drawn all the writing staff to this project, and video games in general, is the fact that we haven't stuck to a single defining tone. As silly as it sounds, when writing an expansive RPG, you let the player sift and tone the story based on their playstyle and the choices they make throughout the story. As for many major changes, we have certainly had our fair share, and while they're quite the hurdle, they're never quite insurmountable, and we have to come back with a stronger story, stronger companions, and a more solid vision as where we want the game to go. The main theme is what we've incorporated into the game is the idea of cause and effect. Your choice in the game will sift the universe and affect the way you play the game. Cause and effect is the name of the game, but we've been writing the story, and how will choice A affect the player down the road to the end game. In many ways, making some of these choices so far has recent consequences and creates a challenge for the writing department as we move along in the game, but in the story we crave the challenge. So, to the art team, what has been the inspiration to the art style of the game? What tools did you use? How long did it take to make the concept pieces? And have a bit of a quick chat about them. So Monte, who's lead from the dev team, has said, when I first joined the project, the high-tech futuristic theme was always set to the project. However, our method of texturing didn't lend itself to that polished and metal look that is usually associated with any sci-fi game. Due to several events, both planned and unplanned, we moved into a more natural and less painted look to the project. Part of this change was trying to take advantage of the latest writing and rendering systems available today. As the test kits sit right now, I'm not quite completely happy with them, but the solution seems to be coming in with the next big release of the Unity game engine. In the meantime, we're doing the best we can with what the engine has to offer. As far as the inspiration, I can't honestly answer that. The descriptions and directions of the art was already set down by the writing team. All I can say is I look forward to what was written and trying to do, but I believe in more of a futuristic and meta look. Our concept guides are awesome, and it didn't really take them long to go from idea to concept. Most of the concepts have been approved right off the bat. Our core modelling team has been pretty good too, and we can take the concept to completion in about a week most of the time. I don't mean 40 hours here, we all work jobs or in school, so that turnaround time is for some of the most complicated models. Our team has still created concepts and models. For the most part, we concept each model if we need it, refine it as it is needed, and then model and test it based on the concept. One of our concept artists, Kong in my mind, is the driving force between our art. Somehow he just seems to have what it is in his head and what Justin and I think the game should look like, and we work from there. The other artists that have been with us have been given this good stuff too, but I tested many of the models and I fell back on the general concepts he made to keep what consistency I thought was needed. So, sound. How did he come out with some of the sound effects? How do you think the theme of the game mirrors with the OST, which is the original soundtrack of the game so far? Describe a usual working session. So, a typical session is quite fluid for me. I work in a non-linear way when it comes to building certain sounds. First off, I don't rely on sound banks. I start from scratch. I envision what an object or event is supposed to sound like based on the art and description of said object or event. I design the sound to fit the game down to the last component. Some sounds are usually comprised of many layers. Sometimes I begin scouting around with my Zoom-handed recorder, usually scaring people like the cashier who thought it was a taser. That thing goes everywhere with me, so that sounds quite an event, in case I chance upon the perfect bass to work from relative to the sound I'm trying to convey. I set these appropriate levels and hit the red button. Conventionally, sometimes I begin with a wave tempo and improvise a certain sound for a bass. Then to finish it off, I scout for the finishing touches with my Zoom. The cornerstone to sound design is reimagining the everyday audio and using the foresight to realise in your mind how these sounds will come together and whether or not the concoction will properly portray the object. For instance, the equipping sound for heavy armour was comprised of my girlfriend slamming a dryer door at the laundromat, the cashier at the local Donor General scanning his gun, my air compressor and me throwing a soft guitar case on the concrete. See, to reiterate, good quality sound design hinges on the ability of the designer to reimagine all those layers and components and have the sum end up greater than all its parts. The roar of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park was made of several animal sounds, see. This dynamic evidences itself is also quite common for me and other freaky sound designers to whip out their headphones and record in the middle of a busy restaurant, or whilst walking down the street, or driving. Sound strikes fast and it's everywhere, and then the rest of the team isn't happy with something. I come up with, well, it's back to the drawing board, and I change it as many times as necessary until they love it. In regards to the sound fitting the original soundtrack, well, the game's got space, ultra high tech and a western polish. When I wrote up the main theme, I elected to summon the powers of Ennio Morricone for inspiration and zazz it up with synth to convey the sci-fi aspect of the game. The team and I, Heath Music, have colluded to make sleekly placed subliminal messages in all the music to help keep people addicted to INT. Approved by the marketing team, of course. No, I guess. We all know how to reconcile sci-fi and westerns. I blame it on early childhood exposure to Goodman Chronicles, so we stuck to that format and I think it's working out. And to keep it safe and consistent, I've been composing within the same mode, save for a song or two. And the rest of the team, Matt guitar, Alex drums and drum programming, has decided to do that well. The Foley is as sci-fi as the music. What's coming up with any particular level or stage hard? How do you structure levels / area for the player? When coming up with concepts, what was the best yet? At this stage, no, the levels we planned for the demo are very straightforward from a design perspective. We want to encourage the player not to only explore the level, but to finish the level so it will take them closer to their primary goal for the demo, and that is to obtain a starship. The levels are structured to have the player clear the level and then make it to the next one, inching ever closer to their primary goal. One of the most interesting concepts we've come up with is boarding simulation for the starship. Essentially, as you're getting boarded, mini-tasks spawn, repel the boarders, fix the IDS, and pilot the ship. This of course requires you to utilise all your companions, but also allows you to experience the event from different perspectives. So, sum up the game in one word. Justin, the project leader, has said engaging. BC, the writing lead, has said choice. John, the HR lead, has said articulate. Heath from sound lead has said source. Monte from the dev team has said team. So that's great words. So, thank you INT for being interviewed in the first Indie Plays. Hope it's been a great experience. Please follow the game at www.int, and it's the little dash sign next to the O on the keyboard, game.net. Like and sub and comment to stay in touch with Games Defined. Have a great day. Thank you for the developers for the opportunity, and please tell me if you want to see more behind the scenes indie interviews.